Every time someone screams in the viewing room, the janitor walks in and the screaming stops. I'm a forensic pathologist. I work in a county morgue, buried beneath a hospital so large that most people don't even realize this place exists. And for a long time, I liked it that way. Down here, everything is quiet, controlled, predictable. The dead don't argue, they don't lie, they don't surprise you. At least, that's what I used to believe. There are only 3 of us who work in the morgue during the day. Myself, the senior examiner, and the janitor. The senior examiner barely speaks. She lives inside her office, buried in paperwork, only coming out when absolutely necessary. So naturally, the only person I ever really noticed down there was him, the janitor. He looked wrong. Not in an obvious way, not at first, just off. His body was too thin. His uniform hung off him like it belonged to someone else. His back was bent so far forward it looked painful just to stand. And his skin, it didn't look old, it looked worn, like leather that had been left out in the sun for too many years. He never spoke. Not to me, not to anyone. He just moved through the halls, slowly dragging his mop bucket behind him, always watching the floor, always silent. I didn't think much of him until I noticed what happens in the viewing room. That room is the worst place in the entire building. Families come down there to identify bodies, to say goodbye, and I've seen grief before, but nothing compares to what happens in that room. People break completely. They scream, collapse, beg, deny. It's raw, it's violent, it's human. The first time something felt wrong was about 3 weeks into my job. A young man had died in a motorcycle accident. His parents came to see him, and the mother, she was screaming so loudly it echoed down the hallway. Not crying, screaming, like something inside her was being torn apart. I remember standing there, frozen, holding paperwork I couldn't even read anymore. And then the janitor walked past me. He didn't look at me, didn't hesitate. He just stopped at the viewing room door and walked inside. And then silence. Not slowly, not naturally, just gone. The screaming stopped instantly, like it had never been there. About a minute later, he walked back out, picked up his mop, and continued down the hallway like nothing happened. When the parents came out, I wasn't ready for what I saw. They weren't crying, they weren't shaking, they weren't even numb. They were calm. The father was holding the mother's hand. She looked tired, but peaceful, like she had just accepted everything. That's not how grief works, not like that, not in under a minute, but it kept happening. Every single time a family broke down, he would enter that room, and every single time they would come out fixed. I tried to listen once, stood near the door while he was inside. All I heard was whispering, low, rhythmic, not English, not anything I recognized. I asked my supervisor about him. She didn't even look at me, just said, "He's been here longer than you, leave it alone." That should have been enough. It wasn't, because there was something else, something worse. The rule: you leave before 6 p.m., no exceptions. At first, I thought it was just policy, cost-cutting, staffing issues, but one night, I stayed late. At exactly 6 o'clock, my office door opened. He was standing there, and for the first time, he looked at me. Really looked at me. His eyes, they didn't feel human. I told him I needed more time, just 1 hour. He didn't argue, didn't raise his voice. He walked over, reached down, and unplugged my computer. Then he said, "The work is done." Something in his voice made it clear. That wasn't a suggestion. I left. But after that, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So 3 nights ago, I made a mistake. I stayed. I hid in an abandoned storage room and waited. At 6, everything went quiet. No footsteps, no movement, nothing. And then I heard it. Metal, dragging, opening, coming from the cold storage. I should have left. I know that now, but I didn't. I walked down that dark hallway and guided only by the emergency lights. And when I reached the door, I heard something else. Wet, heavy, tearing. And chewing, I looked inside. He was standing over a body, the same woman we had received that afternoon. And his hands were inside her. No tools, no incision, just torn open. He pulled something out. Her liver. And then he smiled. His jaw opened too wide. His teeth weren't human. And he started eating. I tried to back away quietly, slowly, but I hit something, and it fell. The noise echoed down the hallway, and everything stopped. Then he growled, and I ran. I didn't think, I didn't plan, I just ran. But he was faster, so much faster. He caught me, threw me like I was nothing. And when I looked up, he was standing over me, covered in blood, watching me. That's when he spoke. I am a ghoul. And suddenly, everything made sense. The bodies, the rule, the silence, the families. He doesn't kill. He feeds on the dead. And in return, he takes something else. Grief. That's what he whispers. That's what he takes. That's why they walk out, peaceful. Because he eats their loss, the same way he eats the bodies. A trade. A horrifying, perfect trade. And now, I'm part of it. Because if I speak, if I run, if I try to stop this, he won't wait for me to die. Tomorrow, I go back. I'll walk past him. I'll pretend I didn't see anything. And I will never, ever stay past 6 again. Would you stay after 6? Knowing what's down there? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe. I'll be back soon.